Don't want any problems. Stop! Come the weapon! Do it now!
Hey folks, On Target Training up here in New Hampshire. This weekend I will be teaching a class with a good friend of mine who's an attorney. We'll be teaching that class in Rhode Island, and the title of the class is called The Realities of Concealed Carry. The class is split between 3 hours of legal assessment, case studies, discussion, and really a lawyer's perspective on what Rhode Island law really covers as far as the right of self-defense and the use of deadly force. One of the things we see frequently, people come to our classes and they think they know the law, and in reality they've only read about the law through some internet chat search, and they talk to someone who knew someone who knew someone who knew someone. And the danger of that, of course, is if you don't really understand the law and you carry a firearm for personal protection, then you may put yourself in serious legal jeopardy if you don't understand really what you can and can't do as a civilian. The second part of the class is really focused on just practical shooting aspects. So wearing your cover garment really and using the gun that you primarily carry. I teach a lot, and I always prefer a full-size sidearm. It's easier to shoot, longer sight radius, easier to manipulate, easier to demonstrate, easier, frankly, just to get hits on target quickly and accurately. But most of us aren't walking around with a full-size handgun. So one of the things that we stress and that I really advocate is spending some time every week shooting some practical drills with your primary self-defense gun. Today I'm using the M&P Shield, and the Shield is a single stack 9mm pistol. It's very flat, very easy to carry. For the purposes of this video, I'm using an outside the waistband holster. At 3 o'clock, I'm using a cover garment, right, that I'll sweep out of the way. 2 o'clock carry, appendix carry, I'm a big fan of that, but again, you have to practice, you have to have the skills, you have to be safe first before you try to mess around with holsters and all the rest of it. So we're going to use an outside the waistband holster, and I'm just going to show you some of the things that I do just to maintain basic proficiency. So the first thing I do when I get to the range is I'm just going to work some basic presentations and dry drills. So I'm going to come out, I'm going to engage my target, make sure that the process is smooth and fast, and that I can be accurate in terms of finding that front sight. And I'm just going to, do several repetitions of that. Then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start adding a dry practice part as far as pressing the trigger. So I'm going to come out of holster, step off the X, and I'm going to fire. And you can see I'm going really slow right now because I'm more interested in the process and the fundamentals than I am in being really tactical and moving super fast, sub-second, all that stuff. Hey, that's all great. For those of you who are into that stuff, fantastic, awesome. What I'm trying to show is the basic skills and things that you can do to help elevate your proficiency and get to the level where maybe you can do that sub-second draw and you can shoot and stand upside down and roll down a hill and roll over, whatever it is. So after I've done some dry practice, the next thing I will do is actually just work some precision marksmanship. 1 magazine, 7, maybe 8 rounds, sometimes 2 magazines, and I'm just going to try to work a really consistent presentation, nice smooth presentation, and then get good hits. So I'm a big fan of starting at combat distances with a handgun, 3 yards for these precision drills, and then working our way back to 7, 10 maximum. Really, if I'm at 10 yards and I can get away, actually if I'm 3 yards and I can get away, that's the first plan, or that's my first plan, is moving away or trying to, get out of dodge, the danger zone. So I'm not going to do any movement in the initial part of this drill. What I'm going to do is just work that presentation and work good trigger management, all the fundamentals that allow us to be accurate. not going to go fast. Smooth is more important and safe is more important, especially if you're just starting these kinds of drills. So we're going to start shooting right now, and again, we're going to start with some precision stuff, and then we'll work a little bit faster. And I want you guys to, be aware, I'm going slow. I am going slow intentionally because I'm more interested in getting a smooth presentation and making sure that the fundamentals and the mechanics are right. Awesome. Let's get to shooting right now. Okay, again, 3 yards away, and what we're going to work on is just being precise. These will be single shot presentations, and I'm just trying to work getting the fundamentals nice and clean and smooth. So again, no rush. I'm going to I'm going to press my shot. Same thing. Up, look, press. And what I want to do is I just want to be nice and consistent. I'm not trying to be a tack driver at this point, but I am trying to provide some level of consistency with my hits. All right, so one magazine, we've gone through it. You can see I'm not going super fast. I'm just working on being consistent and smooth. So the next thing that we'll do now is we'll start working some center mass hits. You can do 1, 2, 3, 5, I don't care how many rounds you fire. I like to do single shot presentations as part of the warm-up just because it really forces me to focus on making the hit, not trying to go super fast and do 3 shots and put them all in there. I'm just trying to go smooth and consistent. Upper chest on this target out here, that's what we'll use. Okay, again, 3 yards away, I'm not trying to go super fast, I'm trying to go smooth. So again, we're not adding movement, we're not stepping off the X, we're just working the presentation, right? So sweep the garment, 1 shot. Come back, not doing scan and assess. And again, I'm not trying to drive one hole, I'm just trying to get center hits, right? Get nice upper chest hits. So I like, again, as I've mentioned before, I like going slow at first to give myself a chance to get into a groove. I want to work all the things that we need to work, right? Sights, trigger, good grip, good stance, consistency in the process every single time. And you can see I'm staying on the front sight after I've fired my rounds, 1, 2, whatever it is. I'm going to hunt and acquire the front sight. I'm going to reset the trigger, even though I might not be firing more than that second shot, but I still should have 2 resets. So once I've done that, then I'm going to start adding a little bit of, movement. Again, not being dramatic, not running 20 miles out of the way here. I'm just trying to get a little bit of movement just off the X, right? So off to the side. So perfect shooting? No. But combat effective? Yes, that's what we're doing, upper chest area, right? The other thing I would start doing at some point is adding what we would call verbal commands and trying to maintain the situation out here, trying to maintain communication, because hopefully, in the best possible world, what we would have is we'd be able to issue a verbal command. We probably should have before this point, right? Stop, drop the weapon, whatever that is. But we want to issue those commands, and we need to practice that. One of the most consistent things that we see at our classes is people show up and, they say, well, I'm going to use verbal commands. I'm going to say stop, drop the weapon, whatever. But once you start shooting or stress testing, that goes right out the door. So you have to practice that. We all migrate to our lowest level of training under stress. I was at a class yesterday at 6 Hour Academy, just, carbine skill builder, because I haven't shot much carbine in the last year. And man, I was really, really rusty. And it was fantastic to get out there and train and do this stuff. And I was not, by any shape or means, in a groove. I was working some gear issues. I was trying a different sight, some different things like that. But you got to train so that you know what's going to happen. And you can have that level of confidence that says, if things went bad, I would at least have some level of proficiency to be able to deal with this threat. So the next thing that I like to do, and again, this is just a matter, I'm not advocating this, but I like to work some single shot presentations to the head, right, to that T-zone. And again, the purpose here is just a little bit of marksmanship, but trying to still work speed. Stop! Stop! Drop the weapon! Stop! No! Okay? So again, ocular cranial area, we're not very far away. I guess we're about 4 yards, actually, not 3. But we're about 4 yards away, so we're just trying to get good center hits, and we're trying to be able to do it on demand. So the next thing that I would do as part of my training regimen now is I would start doing more movement. I'm not going to do a lot of movement here for you guys, and again, you want to do some training before you start moving and shooting and moving and all that kind of stuff. But the key thing is start training. Train with the gear that you're going to carry, right? And if you're not going to train with that gear and you're just going to carry it every day and you think you're going to go out into a stressful situation and all of a sudden to be able to be on the money, performance on demand, it's not going to happen, I can tell you that. Well guys, that's a short look at some of the really basics, fundamental of working carry gear and working the fundamentals around shooting. I really appreciate everybody watching. The channel continues to experience great growth, tremendous support, so thank you. Finally, and as always, stay safe.